Hi, I'm Hal Landvoigt, Director of Winemaking for Precept, and I am the winemaker for House Wine. And I'm here today to just talk a little bit about House Wine and its history. House was founded in 2004 by Charles Smith. And the whole idea was just, based on his travels around Europe, you'd go to a restaurant or cafe or anywhere, and they just have this, they just have their house wine to drink that was just really, it was good, but it was unfussy. A lot of times you didn't even see what the label was. It was just really good, easy drinking wine. And so he wanted to make a wine that was just, there was a red and a white, and it was just like what you kept in your house for when you had company or you wanted something to drink and didn't want to have to think about it. And since then, I mean, now today, house wine has expanded far beyond the traditional wine format. And we do a lot with cans. We do bag in the box. We do a lot of innovation in terms of flavored beverages and really looking at all of the space for how people are consuming wine today and trying to just find new and innovative ways to bring wine into people's lives. Um, we're its house is very bold and vibrant and full colored. We definitely aren't following the traditional wine model. You can just look at any one of our packages and know that just from the sort of OG black and white label. That was something that just always stood out on a shelf because back then everything was colored or had an animal on it, and to have this just monochromatic label really stood out in a sort of way that was really unique. And let's see, what else do I want to say? We like everything, just with a little touch of sweetness. Not sweetness isn't really even the right word, just fruity. We like bold flavors. We like things that, for a house wine, we want something that can stand up just on its own, or as I like to say, something that really just can stand up with a conversation and doesn't get in the way of having a good conversation. But we also want wines that can work with food and that don't require a whole lot of thought about, is this going to go with my fish or is this going to go with my chicken? But just, hey, I really like this, and I can open a bottle or I can open a box or crack a can, and it's going to work with my meal. Um, and so really, I think this brand more than anything else in our portfolio is about celebration, about portability, and about being able to have wine in all of those experiences in your life, you know, where lifting a glass and having a toast would make things a little better. Um, so as you can see here, we've got a whole lot of different types of packaging. When we started with the 750s, that's when I got involved with Charles, and very quickly um, started working with him on the blending and really got a good sense of what he was looking for. And the next step we took was from there was into bag in the box, and this was at a time when bag in the box was really most of what was out in the marketplace was really sort of the low end Franzia 5 liter, really cheap. People were buying bag in the box because it was the most volume you could get for the cheapest price. They weren't buying it because it was good wine. And we felt like there was just, especially being in the Pacific Northwest, where we have so much outdoor activities, where we have so many, sort of seasons where we enjoy sports or recreation and things outside where maybe a glass bottle isn't ideal. A bag in the box is a great way to bring that into that space. And so we started with bag in the box, um, just taking that same juice and putting it into a larger format pack that you could, take backpacking or take on your boat or take to a tailgate and not raise the eyebrows of people that maybe were concerned with the safety of having a glass bottle, but also just allowed us to have a very portable package that stayed fresh. And so you could buy a box of wine that it didn't spill. If it got knocked over, it wasn't going to break. And if it didn't get finished, because it's in a box and it's a container that sort of stays sealed and maintains the freshness, you could bring it back the next weekend and you were still good to go. So it's something you could keep in your RV or in your sort of tailgating trailer. Just like you'd keep tongs and barbecue spatulas and those sorts of things. And then the next space we really entered into was the can space, and the can space has been huge for us. We've It's really one of the things I love about cans is their portability. And so both from the perspective of, oh, if I'm going camping or if I'm going somewhere, this is something that I can bring and I can have a little taste of wine. It's not, doesn't have the weight associated with glass, doesn't have the volume associated with a 3 liter bag in the box. And as we sort of got into that space and started seeing how people drank it, it was amazing how much more cans worked their way into tailgates and those sorts of things. And so where before maybe somebody had just one box of red wine at the tailgate, now they could just get a handful of cans of different flavors, rosé bubbles, a Chardonnay, a red blend, and maybe a Casarita, and they could throw all of those in the cooler and have a whole assortment for people to enjoy. And so it allowed you to have just a much more diverse selection of wine for your guests than what you would get if you were going out and buying bottles or bag in the box. And it's really, because of that and because of the diversity of what we did and the quality of the wines that we were putting into those packaging, we really grew that to be a number one SKU in the country. So we have been since 2004. We have been a leader and an innovator in the market. Really starting with the packaging, but then over time, and by packaging, I mean the label and just sort of the way the wine looked and the way that we marketed it. But then over time, moving into that bag in the box space, moving into the can space, and really moving into then even further into bubbles and how would I put it? And into some sort of some social causes with the HRC program. We've really House has sort of taken on a life of its own. And so, it's a wine that continues to evolve. We continually look more and more at the space of, as we have new drinkers coming on, what are the products that they're looking for, and are there ways that we can fit that into our market? And so if you look at what we have now, there's still the house wine red blend that we started with in 2004 is still very, very similar to the house wine that we're going to make now in 2020 for the 2023 vintage. But at the same time, we've got lemonades, we've got cocktail type wine beverages, we've got sparkling beverages. We have things that are at lower alcohol. So if you look at some of our canned cocktails, we're coming in at a lower alcohol level than we are with a traditional wine, because the way that people drink those in tailgates and those sorts of things, we want them to be able to enjoy it throughout the day and not sort of have a one and done where they have a can of wine and then go fall asleep in the back of the camper. And we've also done a lot of other really just sort of because of the iconography of house wine, we've had the opportunity to do some really interesting collaborations. And so we've done 2 collaborations with Cheez-Its, where, I mean, honestly, this started with them sending us all of the Cheez-It flavors that they made, and we got out all of the house wine box wines that we made, and we sat down and did a very traditional type wine and cheese pairing, but with Cheez-Its, and figured out what worked, and came back and put a program together with Cheez-Its where we did a 2-pack that had a 3-liter bag of house wine red and a big pack of Cheez-Its in it. And then later we did the same thing with Essentia water, where we had wine and water. And both of those things were just really amazing successes. I think some of the house wine, I think the first time we did the house wine Cheez-Its program, we sold 30,000 cases in less than 15 minutes, which is Andrew would tell you is a pretty good sales day. And it just continues to be a really fun program to work on. And I think what I love about House is it is a fun program. It's something that I think draws the consumer in with that sense of playfulness and with the spirit of the packaging. But when they take that product home and consume it, the quality is there to back it up. And so that consumer becomes a fan, both because of the packaging, but also because of the quality of the wine that's in the package. So thank you for your time today, and have a great day.